You are listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. Coming up, the latest episode of Outside the Trenches with former Chiefs reporter and insider BJ Kissel, Super Bowl champion and former K-State All-American offensive lineman Nick Leckey, and KCSN producer Tucker Franklin. The latest headlines, stories, and rumors, plus a blind nils segment where nobody knows what's going to happen. The latest Outside the Trenches, presented by Five Farms Irish Cream, a holiday distillery favorite, starts now. Let's go to BJ Kissel.
That's a hoodwink.
Welcome in to Outside the Trenches. I am not BJ Kissel. I am Tucker Franklin. BJ is not with us today. I'm joined by 6-year NFL veteran, Super Bowl champion Nick Leckey. He's down at the bottom of your screen if you're watching this on YouTube. To my, I guess it'd be my right, actually to my left in real life. Directions are all relative. That's Jordan Foote, super producer here at KC Sports Network. Nick, I'll start with you. How you doing today, my man?
I'm good. Had my kid's last skate party of elementary school tonight. So I got to watch that unfold, and I brought back some good vibes, right? The skate party. You guys have good memories of like when you were a youth, stuff like that?
Yeah. Still a youth, Nick.
Oh my God. I can't even. No, it was cool. No, it was good times.
It was an outdoor skate park?
No, is it inside like a roller skate party?
Like a roll? Oh, okay, roller skate.
Like
I thought you were talking about
NASCAR left turns,
dropping in the half pipe. I thought you were talking about like
just having a ball, man.
Yeah, right. Having a good old time.
Yeah, Jordan, how are you doing? Lots of shows at KC Sports Network coming out this week. How you been?
Yeah, plenty going on, man. It's MLB opening day on Thursday, so in the spirit of that, I got the call from BJ Kissel tonight and got invited to come join you guys on the show. So I'm excited, man.
There you go. Jordan got the big league call up.
That's awesome.
I know. Yeah.
That's so cool, dude.
BJ not with us tonight, obviously, as you can tell, running point here. Very excited to talk about some of the stuff that we got going on here. The topic, if you're tuning into the YouTube video, if you've clicked on the title of this podcast, you already know what we're going to talk about off the top. And if you know the show, you know that we're going to have the blind nil segment to kind of wrap it up. And if you're not, we'll talk about the blind nil. We'll talk about blind nil when we get to it. But first, I got to say thank you to Five Farms Irish Cream. It's getting that time where it's cold in the morning, but by the time you like leave work, it's real nice out. And it's still just that cold enough that you want to put some Irish cream, that Five Farms Irish Cream, into your coffee to start your day. So go check them out. Our wonderful partners at Holiday Distillery, Five Farms Irish Cream Liqueur. You can get that at, Macadoodles. Go ahead and head on over there and get that as well. But so let's talk about this situation that's going on in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes was very vocal about the new rule changes. Now, every year at the league, I believe it's like owners meetings, coaches meetings, they do propose these new rule changes. The Chiefs, or if you remember a couple of years ago, had the overtime rule proposed and it was shot down. And then
they abstained, right?
They abstained. And then once the Bills brought it back, it got approved. And infamously, the Chiefs brought up the number rule, right, when they were running out of numbers to give players to kind of open up the player rosters to a little bit more of a college style of numbering, not double numbers yet, but to kind of give a little bit more options. That did get passed. Number 0 that can now be worn in the NFL. So that is a big rule change that was approved. Another rule change that was approved is the cap of Thursday night football games has now been raised to 2 games. So now teams can play. Yep. I knew that was going to be your reaction, Nick. Teams can now play multiple Thursday night games. The option to flex to Thursday night, however, was voted down. You cannot flex to Thursday night yet. Good rule, in my opinion. We saw a couple of Chiefs players. If you saw on the thumbnail, you saw on Twitter, Patrick Mahomes did the facepalm emoji to it when he quote tweeted the news of it. And then Justin Reed had a tweet out as well. Nick, I want to know, outside of your initial visceral reaction to what that was, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't know, man. The Thursday night football, like, honestly, that's a terrible product. Like, it's always sloppy football. It puts so much stress on people's bodies. like when you go, let's say you play a Sunday noon game, and let's say you're the away team. So game gets over about 3 hours, right? So 1, 2, 3, 3. Takes a while to get on the plane, go to the plane, go home. You go home, eat dinner. Probably you're home at like 11 p.m. at night. Wake up Monday, start working the next week. Tuesday, practice. Wednesday, fly out and play a game. That's brutal. That's so brutal on your body. So having another one, no, silly.
Gordon, your thoughts?
I don't like it. I always side with players and player safety, I think. And Mahomes spoke out about it. Just Breed spoke out about it. And there was a tweet from, I think it was the MLF football or the ML football account. The Giants owner was like, oh, well, think about the people coming out to the game, blah, blah, blah. And MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling quote tweeted it and was
That's
like,
right.
what about the people playing the games? Like, that's just
Right,
important
exactly.
too. You know, if not more important, you have to have the players out there in order for the product to be watchable and for the product to be successful. And if it stacks up, man. Like, if I go play a round of golf on a Sunday, I'm walking around a little weird until like Tuesday morning, Wednesday. I'm like, man, I'm worn out. I'm not playing an NFL game. I'm not getting out there getting hit. I'm not battling in the trenches with people. I'm not getting injured. I'm not battling through that. So I don't like it personally. I think keeping it the way it was. If you're going to do anything, then don't do Thursday night football at all. Like, if you really have that big of a bone to pick with it, don't add more onto it. Give guys more time to rest. And there's people out there saying, well, they have more time to rest before the next game, but that's not what it's about. It's about the time between the previous one and their next one. And there's a risk that I don't have the data, obviously, to support it, but you're not getting enough time to rest, getting multiple Thursday night games, and getting teams like the Chiefs that everyone wants the Chiefs to be on prime time. Like, this could affect them more than some other organizations potentially. So I don't really care for it too much, man.
I want to read Justin Reed's tweet. He said multiple Thursday night games will be terrible for player safety. If fans want to see a better product on Thursday nights, forcing beat up players to get suited up for a surprise Thursday night game with no time to really game plan for is not the way to do it. And I really think he hits the nail on the head, really, just with like everything. And he also said, not to mention thousands of fans' hard-earned money and planning being wasted by a snap change in schedule. Now he's referencing there to the fact that they are debating on having teams be flexed into Thursday night games, which in itself would be a logistical nightmare, not only for the players, but for, imagine, the hotels you have to book, the travel you have to book. Now, all of that is now being changed 2 weeks ahead of time. That is a nightmare. Not to mention the fans who, like, if you buy a ticket, like, let's not act like tickets to NFL games are cheap, right? Like, that's a good chunk of change. If you buy a ticket to go to a Sunday noon game with your kid, and all of a sudden now it's a Thursday night, that's going to be a tough sell. That's a tough little swing to do. So there's a lot going into that the NFL, I feel like the NFL keeps trying to force Thursday night football, and I don't know if there's a right answer with Thursday night football. I don't know if there's a situation that exists with Thursday nights that makes sense. I know there's been a situation thrown out where, it feels like inevitable that the league is going to add the 18th game, right? And if they add the 18th game, they add the second bye week, so they have everybody's Thursday night game following the bye week. So then you would have your bye week, and then your game back would be a Thursday night game. That has been thrown out there. That is one way to possibly fix it. I don't know, Jordan, your thoughts on kind of how the NFL can remedy the Thursday nights.
I think this comment from Jacob Jenkins is interesting. Having less games, one Thursday night football game, 2 bye weeks. I think the 2 bye weeks seems not quite inevitable, but I do think that is going to be where the NFL is headed at some point. Then pushing more games and the NFL turning into load management like the NBA. And to have another Chiefs example, man, these Andy Reid practices, he's not huge on the veteran rest days. He's not like when Tom Brady was in Tampa and they had Bruce Arians. It's like, oh, let's go practice and then go goof off and play golf. If you want a day off, you can have a day off. Like, some teams might have to slightly adjust how they handle stuff like this. You're thinking about a guy like Travis Kelce, who was completely open throughout the year and into the Super Bowl, throughout the playoffs, about, man, it's been tough getting ready for these games and staying ready for these games just physically. Mentally, he's there. It's going to take a toll on everybody. And it's going to take a toll on running backs. It's going to take a toll on quarterbacks, right down to the guy that's running down the field 20 times on special teams. Like, it is just going to be very tough in general. So I think this is a step in the wrong direction. I get the content machine. I get the production machine. You want stuff like this if you're the NFL, and it's kind of backwards sometimes, and it's a bottom line type business. But thinking for the teams, the people going, and the players, the coaches, really everyone else involved, I think it kind of sucks.
I agree. And you know what? It got voted down, right? Obviously. And it got floated out there for a reason. In 3 years, it's going to happen. You know, it's inevitable. And I do think, I agree with you, Jordan. You water down the product. You really do. Like and I'm just talking from players to types of games, more injuries and stuff like that. It's foolish. It's absolutely foolish, but it's going to happen in theaters. Just like we never thought the 18 game schedule would happen. It happened. It happened. Yep. So, but like I said, I mean, NFL is the biggest consumer, or the biggest, right, ad space, because it's all internet now. So where else can you grab a national chunk of America, right, than that? So I get why they want to create more games, you know. And then that Thursday night, it's a shitty product, but guess what? It's Amazon Prime Thursdays now, right?
Yeah.
So
Amazon Prime paid big money for it. I don't remember what the contract was.
Right.
For
money worked for Amazon, I guess.
Well, and people are going to tune
Amazon.
in. Like, people are going to watch if you're getting multiple of one team in the same year. If you're getting a marquee team or marquee matchups a second time on Thursday Night Football, you're going to get more of a draw on your audience. Like, from the league's perspective, I understand it. It's just it's unfortunate, man, for sure.
It is. Well, isn't it still like in a Thursday Night Football? Aren't the ratings still higher than anything else on TV?
I wouldn't be surprised one
right?
bit.
Yeah, I just looked up the deal that they signed. And this is according to Front Office Sports. Amazon has exclusive rights to Thursday Night Football as a part of an 11-year deal worth $1 billion annually.
Annually.
So they are getting a lot of money, or they're paying a lot of money for that exclusivity on Thursday Night Football. So you can tell for 11 years at least, it's not going away. Like, Thursday Night Football is not going away anytime soon. Stinks. Players hate it. I don't know if I've heard one player love a Thursday night game or say anything positive about a Thursday night game. No. I really don't. I really don't think so. Ever since its inception, I don't think any player has been like, yeah, I love to play on Thursday nights after I just played a game Sunday at noon.
I know, right? Well, I remember this quote from Todd Stussy. He's a 12-year vet, just beat up. He would take like a handful of pills every morning, like literally like a little bowl full of pills, just to regulate his body and everything like that, and take like 10 shots of espresso. And it'd just be, you know, just to get up. And it's like when we played a Thursday game in St. Louis on that Wednesday, we're walked through before, you know, we left, and he was like, "Welcome to my world every day, you effers," you know. And it's just, I was like, that's the best way to sum up being a veteran, a 12-year vet, is that you play Sunday, play Thursday, and just beat your body up. And then, disclaimer, I am a retired veteran, NFLPA, so I do want the league to flourish for benefits when I'm later. So, but I do get with the players, man. You got to sacrifice, and I'm not saying, you know, that going into football, right? You know, you're going to sacrifice your body, but just that much, it's like, you're squeezing the lemon too hard, buddy. You know, it's just a burst. Yeah,
juice and squeeze, etc. You know, juice, squeeze, etc. Thank you, everybody, for watching right now. If you're watching us live, really appreciate it. Drop a like, drop a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know your thoughts on Thursday Night Football. I know that there's a lot of people in the comment section right now talking about Thursday Night Football and their thoughts. But hey, fellas, before we hit a break, BJ Kissel, you know him, heard of him? He sent me his blind nil. So
okay.
Let's talk about his blind nil before we get to break here. He said, are the Chiefs' top 3 receiving yards leaders for 2023 all, in all caps, all currently on the roster? Chiefs' top 3 receiving yards leaders for 2023. Are they all currently on the roster?
So I think Kelsey obviously is one,
Kelsey,
regardless of who they bring in. Like, even if it is a vet, if it's Odell or first round rookie, whatever. I think MVS is number 2/3. Like, he could crack the top 3 with 700-800 yards probably. And so you're basically asking, is it Kadarius Toney, or is it Odell, or is it an unforeseen trade, or is it a first round rookie? I don't think a first round rookie is going to out yard Kadarius Toney, barring like a, God forbid, a serious injury where he misses multiple weeks in a row. I don't know, even if they get Odell, like what is Odell right now? He's 30 plus. He's coming off ACL still. We haven't seen him in a while.
Fresh legs as a vet.
Yeah.
Chip on his shoulder. I as much as I hate the Odell talk. He was balling in the Super Bowl.
No, and I love Odell.
And he's actually legit.
Yeah.
That's tough. It's interesting because I can see both sides of the coin with Odell. Before, I don't want to get out too far on a tangent with Odell. I can see both sides with Odell. I can see he hurt the same ACL twice, and that's kind of a red flag. But then I also heard, hey, maybe that first ACL tear wasn't fully healed, so it was kind of like something that was bound to happen eventually. I want to bring up the yards leaders for the Chiefs last year. Travis Kelce obviously led the way with 1338. Juju Smith-Schuster was the second leading receiver with 933 yards. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, 687. That was your number 3. Just close behind him, 512 from Jerick McKinnon. So we're looking Travis Kelce and Marquez Valdes-Scantling both already on the roster. Do they find another near 1,000-yard? Is a near 1,000-yard receiver already on the roster? We'll see.
Is Sky Moore on this roster?
Sky Moore is on this roster.
I think Sky Moore is that dark. No, listen, he's a great route runner, and if you can do that in an Andy Reid system, if you could run consistent routes and get in sync with Patrick on the patterns, on the route concepts, all that stuff, and then you've got all these other guys taking the heat, right? If you can flourish in that canopy level underneath, Kelce, MVS, Kadarius Toney, whoever, Odell, like Jordan said, it's like you could sneak in and get like big numbers. I don't want to put the jinx on him, right? I don't want to put the tight end jinx on him from last year, but Sky Moore.
Yeah, I think that he's definitely someone that deserves to be mentioned. Kadarius Toney, obviously another one, and Andy Reid was very high on both of those guys in his couple press conferences that he's had since the season got done and the development that they've made and the plays they made in the Super Bowl. So I wouldn't be shocked if I wouldn't say 1,000 yards, right? The Chiefs haven't had an 1,000-yard receiver. Get this stat. I looked this up the other day because I was curious. The Chiefs haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver not named Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill since Jeremy Maclin in 2015. Jeremy Maclin was the last Chiefs wide receiver not named Travis Kelce or Tyreek Hill. That's receiver in general, not necessarily wide receiver, to have 1,000 yards. Like that's kind of mind-boggling to think about that.
Where'd he go?
I was going to say, who else would it have been? It would have been Sammy Watkins or DeMarcus Robinson.
He never made it.
Sammy was close one year. But I mean, listen, Juju was close this year. He had 933.
Yeah, he was.
So I don't know if you can find 933 yards with what you have on the roster right now. Maybe I would gladly be proven wrong. I would love that.
The thing is, so if we do the math, and this could go really, really south really, really quickly. Let's say Kelce has like 1,200 yards, right? Let's say the running back room as a whole has 500, which could be too much, could be low. That's 17. Let's say MVS has 800. You're at 2,500 yards, right? So you're halfway to 5,000. Then you're asking another 500 from Sky Moore. That gets you to 3,000. Another 500 from another receiver. Like there is plenty of room there. Noah Gray will be good for 250, 300. Blake Bell will have 100. Jody Fortson will have 100, something like that.
Yeah.
You've got to replace it somewhere. Like Mahomes isn't just going to throw for 3,800 yards or 4,000. He's going to go over that. He's going to have a lot next year. They're not going to start randomly pounding the rock or anything. But it's tough. So maybe that number 3 guy is at 600 yards or something, and maybe it is Sky Moore making a leap. Maybe it is Kelce, MVS, Sky. Maybe Toney is healthy enough to do it. So I don't think I ever gave a straight answer. I'm gonna lean yes, even though I don't feel good about that. After I basically started
I like
off and
it.
said I don't think so, now I kind of think I do.
I love that whole thought process, though, man. We just got like that full thought. I love the baseball analysis. I could tell you do baseball with all the numbers and stuff. Like, that's fantastic. I like that. Let's
Quick
get
math.
numbers. Exactly.
12 players last year on the Chiefs roster recorded over 100 yards receiving. That's pretty impressive. That's a lot of different players.
They just spread it around, and it's weird. Like, as people will get hot, people get cold, especially wide receivers. I'm telling you, check out like game logs for like wide receivers. They're so like this. Like, it just it's really weird how they have. So it's like I said, with this offense and what it's designed to do, it's spread the ball around, right? So that way you don't get any tendencies. Besides Kelsey, if you're in the clutch, right?
Well, they might double down, not literally, but figuratively, on multi tight end sets if they don't bring in another big wideouts. Like, you can't go that 60% of the time or whatever, but the tight end room could take a step up. They could give Noah Gray the ball a little bit more. Maybe Fortson stays healthy. There are a lot of ways they can go. Not all of them are fantastic, to say the least, but if that answer is yes, then I'm interested to see who takes a step up.
I'm going to say no because Justin Watson currently is on the roster.
Hey, mark my words. The Chiefs will draft like a 6'4" tight end or wide receiver.
Oh, they're going to
in honor of Macklin. Bring it
shout
back.
out Jeremy Mack. Mizzou made. That's a good note. Let's send this to break. When we get back, we'll do our blind nils from us here. Let's do it. Let's take a break.
Whether you're a Chiefs, Royals, Sporting KC, KC Current, K-State, KU, or Mizzou fan, we've got you covered. Thanks for watching this production of KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
Y'all hanging out with us here on Outside the Trenches, presented by Five Farms Irish Cream Liqueur. We are here. We have reached the blind nils portion of the show. Your favorite part of the show. It's about 9:25 p.m. when we're recording this. It's KCSN After Dark, essentially.
Yes.
We're doing
executive cut, baby.
I said it.
Yes.
Well, if you don't know what, if you're listening to the show for the first time, watching the show for the first time, we each bring a segment to the table, a question, a topic that we all don't know. So we're all Jordan's going to give us one and we're going to give our gut reactions. We're going to think about it on the spot, right? We don't know what Jordan's going to talk about. Nick's going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing. That is Blind Nil. That name is creatively from the mind of Nick Leckey, from the creative mind of Nick Leckey. Blind
All
Nil.
of ours.
So drop your guys' comments, thoughts on the chat. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us this late night after dark. John Clifford, shout out. Thank you all for joining us, listening after the fact as well. All right. Go ahead, Nick. What you got?
There are immaculate vibes in the Pac-12 after dark when it's like 11:30 and you're turning off the TV for like to go to bed because there's like a third quarter Fresno State like Oregon game. I love the whole concept of Pac-12 after dark. And then now that we're outside the trenches after dark, I just love it. As Tucker Franklin would say, the vibes are immaculate, right?
Man, when I went to ASU I was a Sun Devil for a year, I think. Like we've discussed this. Fun year for sure. And I went when we upset Washington. It was a good time. It was a football game. I didn't know, I wasn't a big college football fan as a kid, which is ironic because I love football in general and sports in general. Just never got into it. I had no clue what Pac-12 after dark was. And obviously with the time difference, it wasn't hitting quite the same when I was over there, but now it's like crack. I mean, it's that might have been a bad analogy, but we'll just roll with it.
It's that addictive.
The football is just so unhinged, and I think that's what makes it
correct.
It's so good.
That's the best way of putting it, right? Like R.I.P. Mike Leach, because he was like the Pac-12 after dark.
Oh
yeah, like he should be the unofficial mascot. Because you love everything about his craziness, just absolutely just gnarliness, and that's Pac-12 after dark. Right. And number one, getting upset by a nobody,
Yeah. And that's what we embody here at Outside the Trenches. KCSN After Dark is what Outside the Trenches is. Nick, you want to kick us off with your blind nil?
I would love to. You get trapped on a desert island. You get a TV with a DVD or a Blu-ray player, right? And you only get one Blu-ray of a movie on a desert island, right? So it might be your favorite, or it might be something that's entertaining, or it might be something that's, complex. It might be something wintry, like, the movie Alive, right? Right? They get trapped on the mountain. So, yeah, right?
It's a movie where Leo gets attacked by a bear, Revenant.
Ooh.
One of those.
Oh,
yeah, like the cold, right? You go there and cool up, right? To survive, right?
It's a good movie.
Maybe, and it's like 12 hours long too, so you got none but time.
He won an Oscar for that movie. Out of all the movies he's been in, it's not the one I would have picked for him to win an Oscar in. My favorite film
After Dark in it right now.
Right. Sorry, I got off. My favorite film is Pulp Fiction. But I don't know if I would want Pulp Fiction to always be like. That's another thought that I was thinking. Do I want something that's like not as heavy, so I don't like I can watch all the time? But I mean, Pulp Fiction, big fan of that. Big fan of that film.
Really? Hold on. I did not know that. That's your favorite movie? That's my favorite movie.
Yeah, I'm a big Quentin Tarantino fan. I love his directing style.
I love that. I saw that in middle school, man. On flipping not Blu-ray, laser disc. A laser disc. What's that?
Oh, I was gonna say you didn't see it in the theater, but if you were in middle school, you probably wouldn't have been let in the theater.
Yeah, it was 12 when it came out, so
yeah,
in '94. So yeah, so I had to. Yeah, But honestly, when you think about that movie, if it was played in chronological order, it's a depressing movie.
100%.
Right? Because like John Travolta gets got in the end, right?
Yeah.
And that's not the end, and it's like, oh man, it's nuts. So yeah, it is. But yeah, I love that. And the music, the music
is phenomenal.
And it's all original, right? It's all original because every time you hear the song from Pulp Fiction, you think of Pulp Fiction. Not the way around.
Right. Jordan?
I have two questions. The first one, this is very telling. Do they have Blu-rays for like older movies? Like, would Pulp Fiction have Blu-ray today, or like, can I just say DVD?
They've remastered. They've remastered.
Okay, cool. So, secondly, I have one that I would pick, but can I give like a top 4 like options?
Oh yeah, only if you can give like a little explanation.
Yes,
each.
absolutely.
Okay.
So,
all right then.
Only one of these was made after the year 2000, which is weird because I was born in 1999, so like I didn't watch movies until after 2000. But well, technically yes, technically no. Anyway, my favorite, my favorite movie, my favorite movie of all time is The Breakfast Club. That's always going to be my favorite. I love it.
You old soul. Are you sure?
My second favorite movie is Ferris Bueller's Day Off from that general same time period. So I think Ferris would be fun. But like that story would get a little bit old. You'd be like, yeah, this jackass is just like screwing people over, kind of like this sly, you know what, like whatever. The Breakfast Club would be fun. I will never, ever, ever watch it a billion times. Never get tired of it. John Bender is a badass. Number 3, Wolf of Wall Street. Very, very big fan.
Entertaining.
That one, yes, that one would never get tiring at all. And then number 4, Casino. I think that's just a classic, very big fan. Robert De Niro, one of my favorites ever. Like that little type of genre of movie, absolutely fantastic.
So Ace Rothstein, right? De Niro's character. I love how it's like this. He's a true character, right? It's based off that, and he played it so well.
He's awesome. Man.
He annoys me. That blueberry, the blueberry muffin scene. Do you guys remember that scene?
Right?
They're in the cafe and they're eating with the chef, and he breaks it. He's like 7 blueberries, and the other guy's like 1,000,000 blueberries. And De Niro goes, "Hey, you want me to? Can you make the same amount of blueberries in each one?" And the chef looked at him deadpan and goes, "You want me to make all the blueberries the same amount?" He's like, "Yeah, like go fuck yourself, dude." That's a great movie.
Yeah. It's so good. It's so good, man.
I just watched it the other day.
I'm getting giddy just thinking about these movies. Like, I want to go on a binge overnight and watch. I don't think I'd have enough time. Like, some of those are like Casino's a long ass movie. Casino's a long one.
Casino, we used to watch it double VHS tapes back in the day, man. That movie, oh my god!
I used to watch double VHS tapes
when he marries Ginger. I just stopped the movie.
Yeah,
just stopped. I watched Goodfellas the other day. Kind of the similar cast, right? Kind of similar. A lot of similarities between the two movies. Not obviously
very similar.
Like mob movies, but just like characters and like cast and everything, and very similar
Actually,
type
De
movies.
Niro, same characters.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah. Joe Pesci also in that, and Goodfellas and Casino.
Those are
I
both
really-
Scorsese films, right?
Oh, really?
Well, and
I think they are. Yeah.
and Wolf of Wall Street's a Scorsese film too. Maybe I just have a type, I guess.
I think so.
Here's
Breakfast
Scorsese
Club
guy.
doesn't fit that that description, but
Ferris Bueller is
I can't
Scorsese.
believe how similar our movie tastes are, you
That's
guys.
good.
Because Jordan,
Oh,
I was
look at
gonna
us.
say Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
so good.
Because it's another one like Pulp Fiction, right? The music, every
Mhm.
song from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, is unique to Ferris Bueller's Day Off, right? I can't think of Darker Shane, Darling, when he's singing on the parade float,
And they did like Twist and Shout, which obviously is a Beatles thing, but like I
But
didn't know
he-
that
he did
until
karaoke.
after I'd watched it. I was like, that's a Ferris Bueller like classic as a kid, and then I was like, obviously not dumbass, but yeah.
I'll excuse it. That's awesome. I love that list. I love the list. It's fantastic. To me, and I'm with you guys. It kind of took me to because I was thinking of one where like that's just pure entertainment and pure just a great movie with just no CGI, just cool whatever is John Cusack. So in that same vein, Grosse Point Blank. Have you guys ever seen that movie?
Mm-mm.
You guys listen tonight. I promise you, go see that. Go see that movie. Go watch that movie. I'll just give you the brief. What you see in the trailer, it's a hitman, John Cusack, gets invited to his 10-year high school reunion, and then also he was like he's done with it, and he's like he's going to quit, and then also he gets a target. He gets a person he's supposed to hit in Grosse Point, Michigan. So yeah, so it's cool, and it's John Cusack flick, right? So you know what you're getting into.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
I dig it. I like it.
Cool. Yeah, I do that. And then the other movie I'd pick, and just because I love the entertainment aspect of it, the plot, the music, the situation, all that stuff, and the characters, Ocean's 12.
I'm a big fan of the Ocean's movies.
But that one really, I think to me, I think you could tell that the Brad Pitt and who's the gray guy? George Clooney.
Oh, yeah.
Their relationship was just awesome. Like how they existed and ran it, and really, how everything and got the heist and all that stuff. This is really cool. So that's what I'd bring Ocean 12.
I didn't expect this conversation at all. Like that's why they call it a blind nil, right?
So
But
blind
I
nil.
definitely, if you would have given me 100 guesses, I never would have guessed this one at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta love it.
It's a good thought experiment. I love it.
Yes, it gets a nice little looking into the mind of the question answerer.
Yes, I agree too. Right?
Yeah. Jordan, what you got for us?
So this one could go really quickly, or it could drag on. I'm not sure which. And
We'll see.
Or it could drag on.
and I could go first if you guys need time to think, but I'm going to preface it with the scene here. I'm going to give you an Uno reverse card, and you can use that for one move that any other team made this offseason, and then you can also use it for the Chiefs. You can either reverse a move they made or change something that they did or didn't do this offseason. So if you guys need time, do you want me to go first, or do you have something that you got it? Okay.
Really
Where are you
easy.
putting your cards at?
My old coach in New Orleans, I'd like to reverse Sean Payton out of Denver. I'd love to do that because, man, listen, everyone's a paper tiger right now. Everyone's going to win the Super Bowl this year, and they got the best team that they can make with their cap and vets and rookies and all that stuff. But that one, man, he brings so much confidence to a team that's already got an amazing defense, right? Like check out the box scores, right? And Chiefs put up more than like 20 on Denver in a while, yet they still win, and they win with a defensive touchdown, right? Like that, they barely beat Denver, right? And it's one of those things. And now you put Sean Payton in there, you give confidence to a guy who lost his confidence, lost his way last year, in Russell Wilson, and now playing with a chip on his shoulder. That's a perfect storm to me.
It's a good one.
Go ahead.
What about
I still gotta think.
What's your Chiefs move, Leckey? What would you redo or change one thing from the Chiefs offseason so far?
I don't know, man. I would have liked to see I don't know. Juju, maybe, like seeing what could have done there, but I don't know, man. I'd like to see what they do in the draft. But I'd like to see him to go after Juju, see what they're offering, see what they're willing to pay. Because as the Tyreek thing, as the Orlando Brown Jr. thing, they're not going to pay top dollar.
Yeah.
And I honestly, as a player, I'm like, but as like a team, it's smart, right? Because you bring in this guy and it creates a imbalance in the locker room, right? Whether you know it or not, like it's not a big deal. But it's like you bring it top of the market, then you can't pay anybody else. It's a smart strategy. It really is. Yeah. Tom Brady was never the highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
Zach, do you need more time?
I think so.
Okay.
Top 10. He was top 10 most paid quarterback, and he's winning Super Bowl after Super Bowl.
I was going to say it also helped that he was with Giselle for a lot of that and had some mega bucks to fall back on, but still he was that guy. Like everyone made that a point all the time, which is weird because Mahomes' cap hits are really high, but I remember when he first signed that deal, everyone was like, "Oh, $500 million! Oh, it's a terrible contract." Blah blah. I'm like, he's getting his money, and he made that clear, but he also gives them unique flexibility that not many other quarterbacks, really technically any other quarterback can give them, like the Josh Allen contract. You could argue about that. I'm sure that guys like Burrow and Herbert will have something similar to a lesser degree, but like bashing Mahomes for making his money when in reality the Chiefs can dip into that fund whenever they want and generate cap space just like they did a couple weeks ago. It's kind of weird, I think.
That's crazy. I didn't know it was flexible like that. See, so I'm loving the baseball because you've been dealing with contracts forever with baseball, right? It's all war and all that stuff. So I like that. I did not know that he had those things, those ways to manipulate the numbers within their books to create cap space. Like that's really cool. But that's smart. You have to do that.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to make a lot of money, you're going to suck. Because if you can't pay that Sam linebacker, $2-3 million a year because you're tight, you got to go with the rookie or something. That could hurt you. That could really hurt you.
Yeah.
Brent,
we see you, buddy. Yeah, shout out. Watching from Costa Rica. Tuck, I can go. Do you still need a little bit more time?
Oh, I was thinking about this. One of the moves that first came to my head when you brought this up was Orlando Brown to Cincinnati. That's not a very, I think that would be a good one. Or reverse him to right tackle. Reverse him to sign a 1-year deal with the Chiefs for a right tackle drop. That would be pretty sick. But looking around the division, it hasn't been like it was last year, right? I feel like there's not a lot of moves. Like Jimmy Garoppolo to the Raiders doesn't scare me one bit. There hasn't been a lot of moves in the division that's been like, oh, I wish that guy would get out of here. Maybe it's a move that I'm thinking where I think Juju's probably a good one. Wish that he would have re-signed just so the Chiefs have an option at wide receiver. I think I'll go with that one.
Yeah, I think for the Chiefs, Juju was mine before I even heard you were Leckey. We're all in agreement there. I think not that he would have completely made the receiver room invincible, but seeing that they haven't done anything since and not knowing what is on the horizon, having that stability for them, I think would be huge. And then league-wide, I tried to think outside the box. And in the AFC, the other two top contenders, you've got Buffalo. They haven't really got better. They were in cap held to begin the offseason. Cincinnati lost Bates, right, and then brought in Brown. I don't know how much better they're going to be, if at all. This seems to be the last season they can truly maneuver the way they have. I went to the NFC, and I don't believe Brock Purdy is necessarily a Super Bowl quarterback, but I know San Fran has a Super Bowl roster. They brought in Javon Hargrave. If they played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, that defensive front could wreck. And it's not like the Chiefs have a bad offensive line by any stretch, but if they did match up, I was like, man, the AFC West hasn't done anything that puts fear in anybody. The top two teams in the AFC haven't done much. Jacksonville has stood pat mostly on the free agent front. So I went out to the NFC. If San Fran got there, Hargrave could be a difference maker. So I'd just take that away.
Dang.
San Francisco's got a scary defense. Their front right now is nasty.
Also, it's one less competitor to inflate the Chris Jones market. So you could think of it that way too. It's one less interior defensive lineman getting $20 million plus per year.
That's unreal. I don't know. I'll be curious how the new Jacksonville guy plays, because I think Orlando Brown had his faults for sure, but he could maintain the integrity of a pocket. Like he is not getting bull rushed, like period. Right. He's got a strong punch, but he does get beat on the outside tendency, but got a strong line. I think he might actually really flourish in Cincinnati. I really do. Plus Joe Burrow, I mean, he gets sacked a lot, but I think he could help maintain the integrity of that pocket. I really do believe that from him.
Yeah. It's all interesting. And coming up next, I've got a couple blind nils I'm going back and forth with. We'll talk about them when we come back after this break.
Whether you're a Chiefs, Royals, Sporting KC, KC Current, K-State, KU, or Mizzou fan, we've got you covered. Thanks for watching this production of KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
Did I tease that I got a couple blind nils on the brain? One of them is about the running back position, so maybe we can get through the running back one a little bit quicker than we can the other one that I'm thinking of. So the running back position right now, that room consists of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, of Isaiah Pacheco, and I believe Jerron Ely is on the practice squad / reserves right now. That's the roster. I want to know from you guys, do you see the Chiefs re-signing Jerick McKinnon, signing another running back like a Ronald Jones or somebody, a veteran of that type, or drafting a running back? Not in the first round, not in the second round, but just drafting a running back in the draft.
Is McKinnon a victim of his own success?
He could be. Right,
where the Chiefs are like, could we get that again? From which, by the way, I didn't know until seriously 2 weeks ago that McKinnon was like a 7-year vet, right?
Yeah.
I read the whole thinking he was like a second-year guy or something like that. And I was like, how does this guy know how to block so well? And then it made sense when I thought, yeah, I get it, So it's like, is he expected to have that sort of like monster run, in like December that he did? I think their question is, do you think they could replicate that? And that's why they're not signing him back yet. Or they don't like signing older running backs either, too. Like Leonardo DiCaprio and his dating habits, right? You reach a certain age, man. No dice, you out. Actually, so maybe they do have the same age where, hey, we don't take running backs under it.
So it's interesting to note, Jordan, sorry, before you go, the contract that Jerick McKinnon, the extension that Jerick McKinnon signed was a 1-year, $1.2 million, just, not a huge deal, but it wasn't signed until June. So Jerick McKinnon obviously doesn't want to go to phase 1 OTAs, phase 2 OTAs, doesn't want to go to all that running around in shorts. So if the Chiefs do re-sign him or a veteran guy, it's probably not going to be till June, July, maybe even August sometimes. But Jordan, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I literally was looking up right before you started saying that. I was like, I know McKinnon signed in June. It was like early to mid-June. I think the Chiefs are on a collision course to bring him back. Like the market for 30-something formerly injury-prone, potentially currently injury-prone running backs like McKinnon is great, but you can't rely on him. And he also ran out of juice at the end of last season. Like he didn't have a ton to begin with, and you could tell his legs weren't incredibly fresh. Now, that's the caveat to this, though. They need McKinnon for the pass protection. They need him as a receiving back. I think there's a way, and the best way to do it, you ramp him up throughout the year into the playoffs, but you need another running back to do that. And maybe you can't count on Clyde Edwards-Helaire necessarily. I think they do draft someone on day 3, whether it's the 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th round. I think they do draft a running back. They bring one in to work with Isaiah Pacheco, but then you have a lot of youth in that room with a second-year guy and a rookie. I think you supplement that with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's still around, and you have Jerick McKinnon waiting, and maybe he's a guy that, hangs around at the beginning of the year, doesn't do a ton, gets involved, spells somebody when they get hurt or need, a breather or whatever. I think they have to bring him back almost, and that's also, they wouldn't be done after that, I don't think.
Yeah, that's a position where you really want bodies at, Jordan, as you're kind of going after, is the attrition.
Quality though. Quality,
right. You want quality bodies.
And it's like, to me, it's like, I don't know what they're afraid of. Is my thing. Like I think it goes deeper than City Hall, where to me it's like are there thoughts like could he recreate that magic again? Like could he be the guy in the running back room again? Do we like him as a leader? So like I said, there's all these things where you're like, interesting. I mean, the guy seems nothing but awesome, by the way. And it's crazy, but we'll see. That's why I'm like, get to the draft. I want to see who they draft.
Right, and I do think that there is something there in the draft. I know BJ's brought up Deuce Vaughn. Maybe they draft another guy that like Jerick McKinnon in the draft. There are some, there are some running backs in there. I want to shout out Matt Reeves for this comment. He is a wide receiver now. Even changed his number to 89. He did. I was thinking of LaMichael Pirine. Is the other running back that they have on roster, who was, I believe, practice squad ad late last year. So they're gonna need the war of attrition. I need to look this stat up. It's been a couple years, and I bring it up all the time. Like the running back misses an average of 2 games a season, and I'm sure it's gone up now because I feel like starting running backs miss so many more games than 2 games a season now. I'm sure that number's gone up. But it's something where you got to have guys and you got to have rotation. I've talked about this too, of the kind of the new trend of throwing waves of defensive linemen and offensive linemen becoming something. You almost have to do that at the running back position now, just with how the position is. But the other one, we've been talking about contracts. It's free agency time. It's extension time. And this has been a big hot topic between these two guys, 2 leaders on the defensive side of the ball, Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed. Bill's going to come due for L'Jarius Sneed. You're going to need to extend Chris Jones if you want to. You can only offer an extension to one of those guys. Who do you offer it
to? It's not even close. It's got to be Chris Jones. And this isn't a completely original thought. He's the Mahomes of the defense, and you can't afford to let him go. There were people, and I was one of these people heading into last season that was like, the Chiefs should absolutely entertain trading him because he's been really good, but he hasn't been truly elite. The money that he's going to ask for, he hasn't been worth. Then he proved everybody wrong. Well, proved me wrong more than a lot of people did believe in him. I was like, he's going to be a really, really good player, even great, but they're going to give him close to Aaron Donald money, and he's not going to be worth it. Then he came out last year and was worth it and was absolutely fantastic. All pro, defensive player of the year, 3rd place finisher. He was absolutely terrific. L'Jarius Sneed's a good player, but they also have a stud young corner in Trent McDuffie. I think one of Joshua Williams and Jalen Watson actually does pan out to be a reliable starter for a while. Maybe even both of them do pan out. He also, I think he has more value to the Chiefs than he does generally in the NFL. So, he might price himself out of the Chiefs range. He might price himself out of his own range. I just think, yes, he's important. Yes, he does some things in the Spags defense that are important. The Chiefs could also draft a L'Jarius Sneed easier than they can draft a Chris Jones. The importance of a Chris Jones, the whole defensive line goes as he does. You take Chris Jones off the defensive line, I don't care if you use 2 first-round picks on an interior defensive lineman. You're not getting Chris Jones unless it's like a Jalen Carter type situation. So you can't really let him walk. Tag and trade isn't going to get you the net value of a Chris Jones. You just have to take your medicine here, take your lumps. You got to pay the guy.
And I think too, there's no, you give me Troy Polamalu in his prime or Chris Jones. I'm still saying extend, Chris Jones because D-line, man, if you can generate a vicious pass rush, the quarterback's going to be on edge, maybe thinking about that. And maybe there can be some throws that aren't as tight in the window. And then, you're going to have some range to go. So, your tolerances change, as your pass rush gets better. So, and Chris Jones from the inside can create so much havoc. And there's so much that you can't even see where it's like collapsing pockets. Generating pressure, ability to beat anybody. And it just, it gives you nightmares. When it's 3rd and 8, you're like, shit, I better hope the center's, slide my way to help, Chris Jones.
So, Tuck, just to jump in real quick before we kick back to you, I looked up on Over the Cap the average annual value for those 2 positions and the top guys. So, Deron Payne's got paid. He's at 22.5. DeForest Buckner's at 21, Leonard Williams is at 21, Hargrave's at 21, Aaron Donald's at 31.6. So Jones isn't going to eclipse 30 million. I don't buy the smoke that he's going to get even 29, 28, but you're getting between 24, 26 maybe, and perhaps you settle at 4 for 100. It's a lot of money, but he's worth it. And you look at cornerback, Xavier Howard at 18. You jump down a little bit. Marcus Peters was at 14. Darius Slay at 14. Charvarius Ward at 13.5. Like, if you were to tell me Charvarius Ward and L'Jarius Sneed had comparable markets, I know that they play slightly different roles on defenses, but Ward's been objectively a pretty darn solid cornerback for a while now. Sneed, like I said, a little bit more valuable to the Chiefs, I think, than other teams. I still think relative to the value, the importance of Jones, it's got to be more important than Sneed. You just have to take your lumps and pay that guy.
I know Jordan, you brought up the trading Chris Jones. I know trading Jerry Sneed has been brought up recently too. He is in the final year of his deal. Why not try to get something out of him while you can? You just drafted 5 guys in the secondary that are on rookie contracts right now, so why not try to get that? Maybe if they draft another corner, if they draft a corner early, we might have to talk about about allocating resources. But I do think that it's an interesting thought. I really think that hitting on all 4 of those corners, you can throw in Brian Cook and say hitting on 5 guys in the secondary really changes the outlook on how this team is constructed moving forward and how they decide to spend their money, allocate their money, because maybe if they're coming to a tight cap situation, they say, okay, L'Jarius Sneed, we can give you this. This is what we can give you right here. And if you can go get more money elsewhere, i.e. Charvarius Ward, what happened with him, go get your money elsewhere. But I think it's going to be a very interesting situation with him coming due, with that bill coming due. Chris Jones, Matt Reeves, again, comment. He said Jones extension seems like a June, July type situation, which
that was his last one too, right?
Yeah.
Late summer, midsummer.
Mm-hmm. So I know a lot of people are freaking out right now that the Chiefs aren't doing anything in free agency. They did 2 moves on the first 2 days. I guess nobody can be happy with what Brett Veach has done. I know that we're getting a little impatient. The draft is just around the corner. Day 3 is actually a month away from today. So we have hit under a month until the first pick in 2023 NFL draft in Kansas City, Missouri, by the way. So exciting times all around.
When is the start? Wednesday or Thursday? When is it?
Thursday. Yeah. Thursday. And according to one of the ESPN mocks, the Chiefs are going to draft Keontae Banks, quarterback, in the first round. So, Tucker, you spoke it into existence, and so did somebody else on ESPN.
There we go. That's all I needed to do.
Hey, move the Pro Bowl to after the Super Bowl so everyone can attend.
Ooh.
Let's do that again.
Was it after the Super Bowl?
I'm just not a Pro Bowl guy.
What's that?
Was it after the Super Bowl when you played?
Yeah, it was. Well, no, they changed it in 2009 to before because we met the guys in like the Pro Bowl. They were already
gotcha.
Miami. So yeah, but yeah, move it to after again. I mean, what could you do with that week, that media week? I mean, no one's watching the Pro Bowl anyways, right?
Right.
So you're kind of in like NFL mode, and the Pro Bowl is kind of like this goof off mode, right? It's like fun, so it should be allowed for the players who actually make it, and we never get the shitty product of the 8th team, whatever, making a Pro Bowl because of injuries, right? And it's like, or people opting out because they don't want to do it. Right. Make it after, right? Make it somewhere fun and make it a real like experience. Like that'd be cool.
Yeah. Don't even play a game anymore. It's all flag football.
Which I'm cool with. I'm totally cool with. But like I said, you got to keep like this, like the intense, man. End of the season, Super Bowl's about to happen. Even if your team's not in it, you still want to be in that mindset. So just make it after.
I agree. All right, fellas. Appreciate you hopping on a podcast, talking this through. Any final thoughts, Nick, before we head out?
No. I'm actually a month away. I'm kind of I just want the draft to be here because I want to see who they get. Because, like I said, this is we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg on what the Chiefs are doing right now, and all will be revealed even after that. When they sign free agents after the draft, everything will be revealed, and then we'll see what they've been planning all along, why they've been doing anything.
There you go, Jordan. Final thoughts.
I know it's a tense time. If you're a Chiefs fan, to be on Chiefs Twitter or whatever. Go touch some grass, go outside, enjoy the weather changing, relax a little bit. The draft is coming up. People really don't know what the Chiefs are going to do. The Chiefs might not even know what the Chiefs are going to do. It's hard to predict some of the rest of the offseason. So it's the day-to-day can get stressful if you're out there watching, but enjoy the fun. and listen to Outside the Trenches with Tucker Franklin and Leckey, and BJ will be back soon.
There you go.
That's awesome.
As always, shout out to Five Farms Irish Cream Liqueur for sponsoring this here wonderful program, this Outside the Trenches, this KCSN After Dark. You're probably not listening to it after dark, but we're recording it after dark, so we get to say it anyway. We appreciate you hanging out with us. And kind of to Jordan's tone, I'll be out at opening day. Opening day just around the corner on Thursday. So see me, stop and say hi. I get excited that when baseball's here, spring feels like it's in the air. It's going to be a nice day out at Kaufman too. So very excited for that. It's going to feel like a new leaf is turning over, and it feels like we're that much closer to the draft. So super excited for that. So make sure you hit that like button on this video, subscribe to the network. We've got a very exciting draft series coming. I've been editing some draft videos I talked about early on 21 questions. I'm going to have a draft video April 1st to 25th. We're going to have a video every single day with the player breakdowns of Kent Swanson, Sean Barber. And we're going to start with Nolan Smith. That's April 1. On Saturday, you're going to get a video on KC Sports Network. It's going to be Nolan Smith breakdown of his film and his highlights. So make sure you got that notification bell on, because we'll be got all kinds of stuff for you for the NFL draft. We'll have you covered here at KC Sports Network. So for Jordan Foote, for Nick Leckey, I am Tucker Franklin. Thank you for listening to this episode of Outside the Trenches. We will talk to you later.
Downtown